At St Brendan's Primary School, Rachel, a graduate teacher, uses a range of resources, including ICT, to engage students in learning about characters in fairy tales and the emotions they express.
The students are learning to deconstruct the fairy tales in a different way because it's all about that code breaking stuff in the young ages. So they're pulling apart, they're looking at Cinderella and they're looking at the pumpkin and the shoe and the important parts of the story that they could probably recall later on. And I think it's important that they look at all of that and sort of build on it in a different way than just telling the story and leaving it at that, incorporating the ICT. Who am I? No calling out, hands down. I just want you to have a think about it. Who am I? I fell off a wall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put me back together again. Who am I? Hands up if you think you know which fairy tale we could be talking, or nursery rhyme we could be talking about. Arathi. Humpty Dumpty, very good. So we used this sentence here, I fell off a wall, and this is called a prop. We're calling these props or items to show us what was happening in the story to work out who we were talking about. So what we're going to be doing today in our groups is in a moment Miss Lane's going to split you up into groups and you're going to have a turn to use some props and do your own facial expressions and gestures using the digital camera to take some photos.
The teacher organises students to work in groups to answer Who Am I puzzles and to select the prop which corresponds with their character. She supports them to use digital cameras to capture role plays of their characters' emotions. She shares these images via the interactive whiteboard.
When I was teaching the lesson today, I could obviously see the kids were engaged in what they were doing because they were using the technology and taking the digital photos themselves. I think the big thing is that they get to watch it back, whereas if they just did the lesson with the props and that sort of thing in the classroom, the whole experience is just forgotten, whereas now we can go back and we can reflect on what they've done and they can say, okay, so I was looking at the happy smile and I could see from the responses, oh yes, it's happy, it's smiley, because you can see their teeth and it's arching up. How can we build on that? How can we get the vocab going, linking in the Australian curriculum to try and further them? They're happy, they're excited. So I think if you didn't have that technology to try and reflect on the experiences with especially Year 1 children in a couple of weeks' time, because it's a whole unit's worth of work, it could be forgotten. Whereas now we can draw back on it, we can pop it back up on the whiteboard and they can look at it again and then they can develop it further into photo stories to prompt them. They wanted to use like the voice recorder to say, who am I am, and use those photos again.
How have you used a range of resources to engage students in learning? Why do you think it's important to plan for learning using a range of resources, including ICT? What kinds of resources would you like to include in your future teaching?